Thank you for watching this video. It has to do with the alignment of mirror 3, which is part of the laser head, and that head is mounted to the X carriage. Now, if you're having problems lining up the mirror 3, what you may be encountering is the fact that the top plate of the carriage is not level. By that I mean that the plate surface where the head mounts may be high left or right. It may be high front to back. And this means that it is not parallel, if you will, with the X rail. Regardless of what your level indicates that the left rail is, okay, that is level as far as the carriage is concerned. And so the top plate must mimic that particular degree of level. It could be a bubble off, it could be spot on, it doesn't make any difference. As long as the top plate of the carriage is parallel or level in the same consistency as the X rail, then you are in good shape as far as aligning the head. Now, I ran into this problem myself, and that's why I made this particular series of videos. I apologize that they're a bit jumpy because they were not made in one continuous shoot. They were actually made, I believe, in 3 shootings. The second thing that you end up with is if your head is not level with the X carriage, what you will end up with is a beam that is tilted one way or the other. So then if you look at the edge of a cut that you have made, it is not square. It's not vertical. And your problem is that the top plate on the X carriage is not square, or rather level to the X rail itself. So watch this video, this segment. Hopefully you will get something good out of it and be able to apply it to your own machine. Again, thank you very much for watching. Hey, this is an addendum to the first video on leveling your machine, and I have found that I made a very, very bad mistake. I talked about how you can take and level your rail. Doesn't make any difference what the level is as long as it is consistent. For instance, from side to side. Doesn't make any difference where the bubble is as long as it is consistent front to back. You could level things on the side of a mountain if everything is consistently the same unlevel. Now here's where my problem came. My X rail shows pretty decent. I mean, in other words, consistent with, for instance, it's just a hair off and it's about the same as down here. But look at what happens when I put my level on my head plate. Oh my gosh. I wondered when I was aligning why in the world I could not get that head, the number 3 mirror, to line up decent without having to put, in my case, I put a shim underneath of the front of here. Well, that's why, because this plate, regardless of the levelness of that rail, this plate is not level, left to right, which means that when you put the head in here, I'm going to use this as an exaggeration, when you put your laser head in here, instead of sitting straight up, that sucker is sitting either back or forward. So I've got to get in here and re-level it. In this particular one, I found that what I had to do was shim the front of the head in order to bring it up and right. So what I'm going to have to do is get in here and re-shim somehow this plate, because it is not, as you can see, it is not in level. Alrighty, when I started this, we were looking at this level, and it was like way off. What I did is I backed off these 3 cap screws that I have in here, and underneath of the very front one I put a little itty bitty, teeny weeny washer. Now if you watched my earlier video, you saw that underneath of these, on top of these risers, I put a washer just so that I had broader bearing surface. Well, I put another one of those same washers underneath of this very front one here, and it has brought this up now so that it is consistent. Yeah, it's not level, but it is consistent, if you will, with the front and the back as far as level is concerned. Secondly, as I was tightening that plate down, I took the head off of my square and put on here in an attempt to get it as square to that rail as I possibly can. So now I'm ready to put this thing back in my machine and see what happens. Thank you for watching this update. Okay, this is the last part of this update. As you can see right now, that head plate is running pretty dadgum level. All the way across, that thing is, I'm happy with it. I'm happy with it. Okay, we were talking about level. Before it was on my workbench leveling, and right here, it's level. That is the frame in my cutter. And I don't know that you could see it, but the head back there, or the level back there, is pretty doggone level. So all in all, right now, I'm happy.